Hello, my Valetzas, and happy Mother's Day, but I know that some of you could be suffering a little bit, and that's what this video is all about. If you're new here, my name is Michelle Pava. I'm a licensed psychotherapist. Many of us this Mother's Day are already coping with additional stressors. We also have the additional stressor of social isolation. So even if you're in a phase that's opening up right now, as of May 2020, many of us are either in lockdown, quarantine, or in self-isolation. In addition to all of this, we have this pervasive anxiety that, of course, is just building and building. We're going to be talking about 6 different struggles that you might be going through this Mother's Day. Number 1, your mother could be in a nursing home right now, and you might not have a way to be able to actually see her or to communicate with her. It might be the first Mother's Day that you're not spending with her. This can be very, very stressful, and you could be holding a lot of pain and agony that you can't be with her. Adding to this, if your mother is unwell, if your mother has dementia, that's another layer to the stress of her being in a nursing home. When you have a mother that has dementia, you also have the added stress of compassion fatigue because you're so worried about her all of the time. And we're going to get into compassion fatigue in a little bit. But first, let's talk about another area that could be really hurting you right now on Mother's Day. For some of us, we have lost our mothers. My mother has been gone now 20 years. And for some of you, you could have just lost your mother, or she could have been gone many, many years. And if you were very close to your mother, you're going to feel that void, that emptiness. And it's going to feel really empty right now because of all of the isolation and the additional stressors that we have. You're going to be more apt to be in thought rather than distracted. If you lost your mother and it wasn't so good, maybe you did not have a great relationship with her, you might be having a lot of different feelings right now. There could be regret, there could be the idea of, words not spoken at the end, or just thinking about unresolved issues. If you're a woman who has been trying to have children and you can't have children right now, or it just hasn't happened for you yet, Mother's Day can be incredibly painful. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Another aspect which is very different right now is the fact that you might not have been able to get to a store to purchase a gift or a card for your mother, or maybe you're unemployed right now, or for whatever reason, financially or physically, you just could not get a gift for your mother, and that might be really bothering you. For those of you who are mothers of younger children, you might feel very stuck and you might not really feel like celebrating Mother's Day because maybe you didn't sign up to homeschool your kids, right? Or maybe it's been really hard juggling working from home and having children at home. Or maybe you're not working and you're really stressed out because your children are home, you're not working, and you might be having financial difficulties. These are all very valid reasons to not feel super excited about Mother's Day. And lastly, what if your mother is a narcissist or in some way she's malignant or toxic to you? That's another struggle. So let's go back over and dive a little deeper into each one of these. So let's take the first one. Maybe your mother is in a nursing home and you're able to have a phone call with her, but you wish you could see her. Or maybe she's unwell, or maybe she has dementia, and you have just a lot of the weight of you really wish you could be with her. Now, a lot of daughters, especially, who have mothers that are in nursing homes in any one of these different levels. Maybe you just can't get to her right now. Maybe she has dementia, or in other ways she might be ill. A lot of daughters will suffer from compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue is not reserved only to people who work in mental health or in high-stress jobs. It also happens to individuals like daughters who are worried about usually family, friends, and especially their mothers, especially when their mothers are in nursing homes. So let's take a look really quickly at what happens with compassion fatigue. So the first realm of compassion fatigue is actually exposure. Exposure just means that you have the incident or the experience. And for you right now, on some level, you have the exposure of your mother being in a nursing home. So you have this exposure to the suffering and you understand it and you have empathy and you have worry. And then you have something which is called an empathy response. That's where the empathy is heightened. You feel not only your pain, but what you perceive her pain to be. This is where you're kind of feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. You might feel an overwhelming sense of fatigue and just not happy, very overwhelmed. very uneasy. So that's where you have the empathy response and it quickly goes right to compassion stress. Now to cope, you either become very stressed or you numb out. So to cope, when you start to get in that place, there's usually two areas that you will gravitate towards. One way is that you will become more detached as a coping strategy, where the person who becomes more detached wants to push it down and they want to distract themselves. Unfortunately, in levels of isolation, it's a little bit harder to just distract yourself, but it can happen. Either way, both of these really aren't going to help you. You don't want to distract yourself, you don't want to be detached, and you don't want to get addicted to worry. If you focus too much on the future of worrying and anxiety or the past of memories, it will lead to suffering and it will lead to compassion fatigue. So the way out of this is to focus on the present moment. What can you do right now to make this better? And one thing that you can definitely do right now in the moment is to journal or to write her a letter. The energy, the intention in which you are putting into the letter will be very healing for you. So go ahead and do artwork or journal or create a recipe that she loves. Just do anything that brings a little bit of her energy and intention to you. It's not perfect. It's not a 100% solution, but it's a help. Now, if you have lost your mother, you can do all of those same strategies. Bring memories back into your life today, right now, that you can apply to Mother's Day in honor of your mother. Even if you had a hard time with your mother, even if there were unresolved issues, what better time to work those out than right now? So if you had a good relationship with your mother, go ahead and write a letter thanking her for everything that she gave you. If you have unresolved issues with your late mother, go ahead and write a letter of all of the things that you just need to get off your chest. Talk to her out loud if you need to. And also look at some of the silver linings. Much like number one, you want to look at some of the silver linings. What did she teach you? What did she bring to you that became something that was an asset to you? How did she create a stronger person in you? If you're a woman who is trying to have children, and this day is just a reminder of what you feel like you don't have, I know that this is not a cure and it's not going to be a perfect answer, but today is a great day to go online to find an organization that really could use $10, $15, $20, whatever you have to offer, and donate to an organization that has a focus on children that do not have families. Today, definitely, you can be a mother figure to a child that does not have anyone. So in the realm of this, I just want to tell you a really quick story. In the 1930s and in the early 1940s, my mother was actually in an orphanage, and she was in definite poverty. There was a teacher who recognized that my mother did not have a winter coat. And my mother was this little frail thing, and when she was put into the orphanage at 5 years old, she even had her last rites because they thought she was going to pass away, that she had bronchitis and pneumonia so bad. So she was a very weak child. And this teacher noticed that she didn't have a coat. And what happened was this teacher bought her a coat. My mother always remembered that this woman purchased this coat for her. And she actually remembered the woman putting the coat on her and putting her hands on her little cheeks and saying, "This is for you," and buttoning the coat up. And my mother would, I'm not telling the story the way my mother did, but the way my mother told the story, it was really emotional. I wish I knew what that woman's name was, but it would be so nice to just know the woman's name and just be able to pray to the woman and just thank her for being there for my mother. There was this opportunity that this woman had to be a mother figure to my mom, and my mom went through her whole life knowing that. So I know that you're struggling right now that you don't have a child, but think about how you could really change a child's life if you could do something like that. And I'm not attempting to minimize your pain, but I do want to offer you a suggestion that I know would be very meaningful. Now, I know that some of you are in very tough situations financially right now. I know some of you just cannot leave your home or go shopping very easily, and you might feel like because you don't have the money or the means in some way to get your mother a gift or a card, you might feel really bad. You might feel a level of shame or guilt, or that you're just not doing enough. And I want to really just tell you that you already are your mother's gift. She doesn't need anything. She doesn't really want anything, I bet. I bet she just is happy knowing that you love her. Number 5. Okay, moms, Those of you who did not sign up for homeschooling, who did not sign up to work from home and take care of your children at the same time, those of you who are feeling like you can't keep your children occupied and you're worried about keeping them happy, and just all the stressors of being a parent during this crisis, especially if your children are younger. I totally understand the stressors that you're going through right now, and I want you to know that you don't have to have any expectations or any pressures on yourself. You can try to get some me time, even if that means just sitting in the bathroom, if that's what me time is for you, or just taking a little bit longer of a shower, whatever you can do to just get some relaxation. Today might be a very good day to think about. Mother's Day might be a really good time to think about maybe having some kind of a new schedule so that you don't get burned out. You're going to have also emotional fatigue and physical fatigue, overwhelm, and stressors on top of that. So you really need to take time for yourself physically and emotionally. Oh, and lastly, the narcissist. So having a narcissist mother is really a combination of a lot of the other ones that I just spoke about. So when you have a narcissist mother, there's an air of dementia there. Now, not actual dementia, but it's like somewhere underneath of all of that trauma and all of that broken is a woman who probably at one time was healthy. Maybe only as a child she was healthy. So life happened to her for whatever reason, and she has all of these narcissist tendencies that are very malignant for you maybe. So I understand that you're looking at your mother, but yet she's not really your mother. She's a person who has a mental illness or a condition or disease or just prone to some traits. And these are all things that are really toxic for you. So I understand that when you're looking at her, it's almost like you can't connect. There's a detachment there, but you're yet yearning for that attachment. At the same time, it's almost like she's passed away because the mother that you wish that you had or the mother that you deserve to have was maybe never really there, or she was there at one point and now she's not. So there's a lot of different dimensions to that, and you're potentially going to have compassion fatigue and being physically exhausted and being on edge and walking on eggshells, and you're going to have some resentment about the people that are happily celebrating Mother's Day, not only in 2020, but anytime, because you're going to look at your mother and that relationship that you have with your mother, and you're going to feel like a victim. And some of you are going to not want to feel like a victim. You're going to say, no, I'm going to be strong and I'm better than that. But you know what? It's okay to be really sad. It's okay to use Mother's Day as a day to mourn what you don't have in a mother, what you deserve to have in a mother. So it's okay. And for some of you, if you have a narcissistic mother and it's 2020 May, you're probably pretty happy that you are on isolation unless you happen to be with her. But a lot of you are going to not have to deal with a lot of the drama and roller coaster that comes with a narcissistic mother, but maybe you will. And the only good thing about that is that you get to focus more on yourself. So my Beletzes, it is late at night, but I really wanted to make sure that I got this video in because I wanted to touch upon the different types of scenarios that you might be going through. And with any of them, I don't assume to know exactly what you're going through, and I'm not arrogant enough to think that I have all of the answers. I just hope that I can help you a little bit. I've had my own pain of not only having a mother that passed away, but also being a mom and having stressful Mother's Days. I get it. I've also had the experience of trying to have a child and not being able to. I've had ectopic pregnancies and miscarriages, and it was very painful. And I just want you to know that regardless of where we all as a sisterhood sit in this, we all have nurturing capabilities. We all care about other people. We all mother ourselves, or we should. We can care for pets. We can care for our children, our mothers. Whatever it is that we want to do is right for us, okay? So whatever you feel is the way that you should spend Mother's Day, spend Mother's Day that way. I don't want you to have expectations or pressures, but I do want you to use this day, if possible, as a day of healing your mother issues or your mother struggles that you might be going through. I want to wish you a very happy Mother's Day.